What's up YouTube, this is Joe from TeamDeathMeta giving you a deck update today on the DDD deck. I know I've been posting this deck profile a lot lately, but that's just because there's just so many things you can do with the deck, and I'm always changing it, always upgrading it, and then it's also the one I'm taking to my locals all the time, so it's the one that's getting the latest improvements and my focus and attention on, although at the moment I'm also paying attention to my Odd Eyes Magician deck, which I will post up here in the near future once I've got a good build that I'm happy with, that works and is quite consistent to me. But until then, here's again a update on the DDD deck. There's been quite a few changes to the deck and the way it works. Actually no, the way it works is still the same, but the combos I've now got in it are a lot better and a lot fluent and just keeps the pace of the deck going. And so I thought I'd share it with you to you guys, and hope you all enjoy it. And let's get through the deck profile. So we have 3 Servant Kepler, 1 Galley, 3 Slime, well 3 Spell Slime, 2 Necro Slime, 1 Baphomet, 3 Abyss Ragnarok, 3 Rebel King, and 2 Max C. This is our monster lineup. This is quite a consistent monster lineup to me. It is a shame I'm only running 1 Baphomet, but things had to be taken out for things to be put in. But this is just standard DDD lineup. There are 2 things in here change depending on what the player's preference, which is Galley and Baphomet. Yeah, this is all where all of your plays come from. You got your Searcher, then you got your Special Summoner, you got your Defender, and then you got your Fusion Makers, and you got the XT's Maker. Then you've also got a Bouncer for plays that you can perform to save your life or fill up your graveyard and all that kind of stuff. And then the 2 Max C, as I explained in my last profile, Effect Vader just doesn't work for this deck. It can be side decked, but this deck needs draw power, it needs consistency, and Max C is one of the best ways to do it. And yeah, it just helps speed through your deck and helps you combat the matchups. So that's our monsters, 18 monsters. Then for the spells, we've got 2 Swamp King and 3 Gates. This is the Dark Contract lineup, that number ratio that I always liked from the beginning. I've always gone with this ratio. I've always thought 2 Swamp King is just all you need. 3 is just too much until we get Flame Temujin, then we can go up to 3 if we wish, and other fusions. And Gates, you need Gates to search out all your monsters. And for the rest of the spells, we have 2 Transmodify, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 1-for-1, 3 Upstart Goblin, and 1 Magic Planter. Transmodify is one of the latest additions I've had to the deck. The play with any of our 2 level 7s into Ragnarok, and then Ragnarok gains back the level 7 that we just distributed for Transmodify, is just too good of a play. The one that you try to do the most is you go into your Dark, you Transmodify the Dark to then get out Abyss Ragnarok, who then he gets back the Dark. So you got your life point gainer out on board, and then you got a monster that can banish other monsters, as well as being either 2200 attack or 3000 wall. Lately I've been playing him in defense mode because 3k defense is just quite hard for opposing decks to run over. Not many decks actually go above the 3k mark, so having him in defense is always very nice. So that's that. Everything else is quite standard. The Upstart Goblins is new to the deck as well. At first I wasn't really liking Upstart Goblin. I didn't think it would do quite well, and the life point increase to the opponent is always a bit iffy, but the way that the deck plays is just like a massive beatdown and lockdown deck at the same time. Playing our big monsters to then hit them in directly, and then as well as locking them out with our trap lineups and all that kind of stuff. So Upstart Goblin, giving them 1000 points is just not really important. Doesn't really take into any effect. And then obviously us drawing a card is always beneficial to us. And then the Magic Planter's back in the deck. I just really don't like Allure of Darkness. I'm not the only one. One of my friends who also plays the deck's the same. The banishing effect for this deck is just too much. If we had everything the OCG has, as well as 2 Allure, then it could be quite okay. But the fact that we only have 1 and so limited DDDs as it is, we don't really want to banish any of these cards, especially these 2, and our Ragnaroks as well. So the best solution that we've come up with is again Magic Planter, because we have all these continuous traps in the deck, plus additional ones if you want to put them in. So Magic Planter is just a lot better for us in terms of what we view and what I've always viewed as of lately. So Magic Planter is still in here at 1. If I bumped up the trap lineup, which I actually tried to do in terms of continuous traps, especially Witch, then I would probably fit in a second one, making Magic Planter a bit more live, but we'll just have to wait and see. And then for traps we have 2 Witch as always standard. Again, I did try and buff it up to 3. I still kind of want to buff it up to 3 because it's one of the best traps that the deck has, aside from my opinion the virus traps. But so far 2's just been working great. You try to get it out as much as you can as well to try and essentially get rid of problematic cards that your opponent's trying to play and disrupt their plays as well. Then we have Epidemic Virus and Destruction Virus. I've actually started maining these cards now, just because the game 1 you want to try and win as well. It's one of these few decks that actually tries to win as many games as possible, and if it can win game 1, then it will. So maining the virus traps is one of my choices I've just recently done. They're very easy to get off, majority of the times always live. You'll always have at least a 2000 point beat stick to get Devastation off. And then we always go into the dark as consistently as possible, which is quite consistent. So then Epidemic Virus is also live. And they just disrupt so many decks. No matter what deck you're playing, you want to have your spells and you want to have your monsters. So they're always good cards, so I've decided to main them now. Then for extra traps, it's quite explanatory. Vanities and your Warning. And then Blazing Mirror Force, or as Depro's calling it, Fire Force. Blazing Mirror Force has just been very good lately, and the combo that this deck has with Blazing Mirror Force is just too good to not try out at least one. The fact that Dark, the ruling for Dark, which I checked with a judge, is that you will gain the life points from Blazing Mirror Force and then your opponent will lose it. So Blazing Mirror Force is just all around better than Mirror Force in this deck, considering it does the exact same thing in terms of blowing up all the opponent's monsters in attack mode. But then you gain more life points if you have Dark in play, which this deck is now designed to keep Dark on the field as a lot more than the deck usually does. And you'll see with these 2 cards, Call of the Haunted, you get your Darks in the graveyard quite quickly, just because you get them out very quickly. So having 2 Call of the Haunted to bring them back, or bring back an Abyss Ragnarok to then gets back Dark, it's just too good of a play. It's kind of like another Transmodify play in terms of from the graveyard. And so that's why I'm testing it out. Plus it's also extra food for Magic Planter when we don't need it anymore. So that's always good. So that's the main deck. The extra deck is still the same. 3 Darks, 2 Caesar Ragnaroks, 1 King Kyuga, 1 King Tau, which I'm now taking in just to see how it goes. The 2 Brave King, 1 Castel, 1 Honor Arc, 1 Big Eye, 1 Draco Sack, 1 Flare Metal, and 1 Felground. And I have down here a deck Devastation Virus. So yes, that's the deck, people. Hope you all enjoyed it. One change that I might make in the future, I'm not too sure, is taking out the King Tail for a second Kyuga. Just because I want to abuse Kyuga a lot more, considering he just opens up a lot more OTK and lockdown potential. But other than that, that's the deck. Hope you all enjoyed it. Once we get the confirmation that's spreading around as a rumour that we're getting Alexander and Night Howl in Bosch, then I will update this deck as soon as possible, including those two cards, which then will give this deck a lot more place. And so until then, I hope you all again enjoyed the deck profile. Any comments, leave down below. I would be greatly appreciated, and I'd like to hear your views in the deck. And yeah, I hope to see you all next time. Goodbye.